everyone, and welcome back to Burn the Talking Points. Thank you for tuning in. If you are listening today, you probably already know the news, but Chair Ken Ulman, the chair of the Maryland Democratic Party, is stepping down effective June 13th, and he, along with Governor Moore and Dr. Dukes, are recommending that County Executive of Anne Arundel County, Steuart Pittman, is the next chair of the Maryland Democratic Party. So we're actually going to have him and other members of the Maryland Democratic Party leadership on for a conversation in a little bit, but I want to give you a few housekeeping notes as well. First, coming up on June 12th is the Maryland Democratic Party Gala in Baltimore City. Make sure you secure your tickets before they sell out because tickets are going fast. So you can check out our social media as well as we'll drop it in the show notes as well. Second, we have a new store. If you go to store.mddems.org, you will see all new merchandise that you can get, as well as we have a code for you, which we'll also put in the show notes. But beware, it is only active for a couple of days, so make sure you act fast to get your merch. Third, Chesapeake Campaign Academy. This is brand new, and you'll see it on our social media, but we are launching a campaign academy for folks that want to be Maryland political campaign operatives here in the state and help run campaigns for House candidates, Senate candidates, the coordinated campaign, whatever it might be. We want to grow Maryland talent to run Maryland campaigns. And so the application is now open, and make sure that you check it out and you go to mddems.org/application, and you can apply to be part of the inaugural class of the Chesapeake Campaign Academy. And finally, we do have Pride coming up in June. The Maryland Democratic Party is going to be at the Baltimore Pride, which is the 50th Pride anniversary in Baltimore, which is a really big deal. So come join us in Baltimore. You can march with us in the parade. And we're also going to have a fundraiser at the end of Pride with Governor Moore in Baltimore City. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us. We'll get you the information. We'd love to have you at any of our events with us. And so before we start the interview and conversation with County Executive Pittman, as well as First Vice Chair Dr. Charlene Dukes and Executive Director Karen Darks, I do just want to give a shout out to Ken Ulman, our chair. He is leaving behind big shoes to fill. Couple of things just on his record. He has maintained Democratic dominance in the state, which is a huge deal. Not only did he help lead us in beating Larry Hogan and helping elect Angela Alsobrooks to the U.S. Senate, we maintained our 7-1 congressional majority, including helping win in the 6th congressional district. Shout out to Congresswoman April McLean Delaney. He helped raise over $5.5 million in the last 2 years. There a ton of shoes to fill, and I think the one that he may be most proud of that I'm really excited about, but we'll have to ask him, is our entry into school board races as well as some other nonpartisan races to make sure that Republicans can't use those races as Trojan horses to sneak their crazy right-wing candidates through. We actually defeated some of the craziest candidates and most far right-wing candidates in Anne Arundel County, in Howard County, which were in red seats. We held some seats in St. Mary's County across the board, and that's something that we actually talked to County Executive Pittman about. So make sure you listen to what his answer is about should the Maryland Democratic Party keep playing in nonpartisan seats as well. Without further ado, here's our conversation with County Executive Pittman, Executive Director Karen Darks, and First Vice Chair Dr. Charlene Dukes. So I'm so excited to have all three of you on at once. So Karen Darks, our Executive Director, Dr. Charlene Dukes, our First Vice Chair, and the recommended candidate by Governor Moore, Dr. Dukes, and Chair Ulman, County Executive Steuart Pittman. So thank you all for joining us. Let's hop right in because I know our time is limited. First, this question's for everyone, and actually for Karen and Dr. Dukes from the inside, and then County Executive Pittman, what you've been seeing from the outside. Like, what do you think has been working with the Maryland Democratic Party for the last year since Karen, you took over, Dr. Dukes, you took over, that maybe we want to make sure we continue and supercharge into the future?
And maybe what I'll do is go ahead and start. You know, one of the things that I'll say is when Chair Ulman and I accepted the opportunity to be the governor's nominees for chair and vice chair of the party, and then certainly go through the election process, we knew that we wanted to build a staff and a party that certainly took care of the needs of the people of the state of Maryland, and more importantly, that we could respond quickly and we could respond effectively. So I think from my perspective, that was one of the first things that we were able to do. That was certainly bringing in Karen Darks as our executive director. Joe, you certainly as the deputy
I
director.
do love flattery when people come on and say how great.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then to build, there are some current staff members who were with us, who were with the party before, doing great work. And we wanted to make sure that we were able to not just build a team, but to build a culture of support for each other. And most importantly, support for the Maryland Democratic Party. So I think for me, that's one of the first things that we did. And then we relied on our relationships across the state of Maryland. And we were able then to come in and say, okay, what does the party need to do with regard to continuing to build those relationships, create new relationships, and certainly raise money so that we could get Democrats elected up and down the ticket. We, in addition to congressional races, we certainly leaned into races that we hadn't leaned into before, school board races and the like. So I think that we have a great foundation and that we're only going to build and get better from there.
I think the number I saw was like 5.5 million over the last year for Democrats here in Maryland, including the coordinated campaign. So that's impressive. County Executive Pittman, Karen.
No, I mean, I guess just to double down on what Dr. Duke said, I think something that was really intentional, it's the state party and the state party staff truly being an asset and a resource to everybody in our ecosystem, from the state parties to elected officials to campaigns. And that means being an asset and a resource outside of the obligatory state party things that we do, really leaning in on the races, being in campaign offices, being at the table, having the phone calls, and just being just really attentive to all matters that involve any politics, any campaign, anything that's happening in the state, not just showing up when it's time to stand up to coordinate it.
What do you think, County Executive? You obviously have not been sitting in the chair seat for the last year, but you've been witnessing it from the outside. What's on your mind for the party?
Yeah, I mean, I was really impressed the way the party came together, after electing a governor and built from there. It was a big win, and so it was a positive. Unlike what's going on in the country, attitudes about the Democratic Party in Maryland were winners, and then to watch the last election. And really, the Angela also Brooks Larry Hogan race, which I felt pretty passionate about and knew we had to win, and that by winning we would really show that that we're on the right path. And so I enjoyed watching from the outside. I had enough of a sense of what was going on inside to see that some really good staff had been hired, and that there was really good leadership with you and Ken. And so I just you feel good about it when the party is in good shape, and you feel terrible about it when it's not. But now we're starting to see the Republicans start to mobilize against the governor, and the press at sometimes going, it's like political season is back again. And it reminds us how important it is that we have to win, and we have to win big, and we have to show the country that how to do it, I think, to restore some of the optimism.
I mean, that's an interesting point you made about the state Democratic Party in Maryland is winners. Like it is a strong brand in Maryland because we win. We hold 7 out of 8 congressionals, both Senate seats. We have super majorities in both houses. We hold all of the large counties, most of the large counties. But on the national level, that brand is not the same. And I think a lot of it has to do with some leadership. I think people still feel strong about their members or whatever it might be, but the leadership people have questions on. So I want to go straight to that question. Just like, so County Executive Pittman, what's your vision if you become chair for the Maryland Democratic Party?
Yeah. So, I spent a decade as a community organizer, always looking for the hook, the handle to be able to grow an organization, and in this case, it's the Maryland Democratic Party. And it's always got to do with the moment in history. And the world is very different than it was, 6 months ago. And we thought we might have Kamala Harris as president, and then everybody's attitude about the Democratic Party would have been very different. Would have been very positive because winners, right? So now, though, we're in this place where everybody is under attack by Donald Trump and the MAGA version of the Republican Party, and that includes people who voted for Donald Trump. That's everybody. And Marylanders are going to be hurt by that too. And to me, if our job is to build the institution of the Democratic Party in between elections so that it can, it is trusted and it is well financed and it has active volunteers and it has people ready to go out and do the work for elections, we got to be there for our people when they're hurting, and we got to be there for all people when they're hurting. And that's what in county government we're trying to figure out how to do best. Our Office of Emergency Management literally mobilizing for that. And I think there are opportunities there that we haven't quite figured out yet about how to be there and listen to all Marylanders as the Democratic Party, as the institution that is going to hear them and is going to fight back.
Interesting. Dr. Dukes, you had something?
Well, I was just going to say absolutely. And I think that part of that, as we've talked about, is how are we talking to our neighbors, our friends, even our relatives who are certainly hurting in this period of time. And that we recognize that we are a democracy where this is not a monarchy. And what we do is we take care of the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Direct relationship to the people who are impacted.
Absolutely.
Dr. Dukes, I want to ask you this question because I know people have been asking this, and let's just get it out in the open. Your first vice chair, you didn't want to be chair?
No, what I wanted to do was to continue in my role as first vice chair. As first vice chair, and as always, support the chair. I see the same partnership that I had with Ken Ulman is the same partnership that I expect. And we've already talked about it and agreed to it with Steuart Pittman. So I think that serving in this role is interesting to me as first vice chair. I've learned a lot, and I believe that I can continue to be a good partner.
And just to put the rumor mill to rest, so you are not passed over. You are not interested in being chair.
Absolutely. I was not passed over. I was very clear about my desire to stay in the current role that I have.
Thank you.
Well, I don't think it matters. Well, maybe it does matter, but, of course, there are going to be certain decisions where, I'm going to have to. But when we sat down for lunch and talked about the relationship and how things are working and how things might work if I end up being elected, which I am not yet.
Yeah.
And, but one of the things I loved about everything you talked about was that you, like me, don't feel like you're a political person.
Absolutely.
You're a person from higher ed, from community college, from doing all these things in your life. And I think hopefully both of us don't think we got enough political consultants around us, and bless all of you who do that because it's really hard work. But I think between the two of us, our leadership, I hope, will be, our eyes will be close to the ground and close to where people are coming from, and hopefully that'll help.
Let's dive into that a little bit because I think people are going to be curious. You all obviously know each other, have met now, but no one's ever been on your staff in Anne Arundel County. You've obviously never been on the Democratic Party staff. We have big elections coming up. How do you three envision working together and getting us into, continuing the fighting shape over the next?
Good boss. How are we going to do it?
No, I think just in a leadership style that I've always adopted, and I think would carry through really well, is just allowing people to flourish in the lanes that they're most comfortable in. I think everybody has their own way that they've come to politics, that they've come to the Maryland Democratic Party, and what they're most passionate about. Now, will we all get out of our comfort zone a lot? Yes. But I think that running, keeping the main thing, and being focused on the things that bring us the most joy and what we're passionate about in this process will help us, succeed. And I think that everyone not being, quote unquote political helps us to challenge the status quo. And I think that's something that we did last year is we challenged it. We thought outside the box and we were able to excel in it. And I think that if we can keep that going into the rest of 25 and into 26, we'll be great. I think we lean on everyone's strengths, organizational to organizing to fundraising to communications to everything. I think that's what worked really, really well for us last time. And I think it'll work really well again.
Can I just add that when we did sit down, it was actually quite a small booth. Yeah, sorry. And you brought a lot of paper, which kept getting wet. But what really comforted me about what you brought to the literally to the table, with the strategic plan and the layout of all of the things that have to be done in a transition like this, was that you're incredibly organized. And yeah, and I find that in my life, whether it's my staff in the county government or campaigns or even at home life and all of those things, I tend to be kind of a creator, but not always great at following up on things. And if I don't have people around me that are really grounded and really organized, it doesn't always work out well. So.
And, I think the other thing is that we worked really hard to do the right thing right the first time. But we also recognize that we are people, we are humans. And sometimes we have to say, okay, let's back up and scrap that. And, either let's start all over again, or let's implement what we've learned as a result of the process. So absolutely.
Yeah. And we shouldn't leave you out of the conversation, Joe, just because you're the person doing the interviewing. But
you guys is great. Fantastic.
No, but can I just say that in terms of rounding out a team, and this is sort of a 4-person team right here. Sorry, I keep moving away from the mic, but so I mean, I drafted a letter that is going to go out to the folks who are going to be voting and making this decision, and then I shared it with all of you, and I knew, Joe, that you're the sort of comms oriented, the political actor in a lot of ways, and that's your role. And you went through that document and you had a whole lot of comments. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is hard. Is he going to be offended if I disagree with something that he says? So we got on the phone and I thought we had a great conversation because I think our minds are a little bit similar. Mm-hmm. And it was really fun just working with you on that one little document. So I look forward to the collaboration.
Well, Joe gets to do all the fun stuff.
Yeah. Honestly, I had the best job in Maryland politics.
I do PM stuff, the budget, that's and
but no fundraising, no operations. It's great. Greatest job there is. So the name of the show is Burn the Talking Points, and I know we've gotten a couple of questions from the audience, so we're going to put you on the spot a little bit here, County Executive. One thing people really want to see is contesting every seat in 2026 across the board, whether it's a municipal mayor's race all the way through, obviously, we're going to contest the governor's race because we're going to keep the governor's mansion. But should people expect the Maryland Democratic Party to compete everywhere?
Should they? Yes.
No, will they? Your leadership. Will they?
Do I want to?
Yeah.
Can I say hell yeah?
You can say whatever you want. Okay. You're in charge if you get elected.
Yeah. I mean, to the extent, especially that we're trying to be more grassroots and closer to people and not just, the very top of the grass of politics. It's really important and it's really fun too. I mean, in the county, I find myself getting involved in right now that, the city of Annapolis has races coming up and I've been going around endorsing candidates and things like that. And I won't be involved in that in primaries after take this job, but it's important. And then our school board races have been hotly contested.
Well, that's the next question I want to ask too, that we're getting. Should we expect the Maryland Democratic Party to continue what we started in 24 to compete in some nonpartisan races?
Yeah, I mean, and with school boards in particular, when you've got an organized thing on the other side, like Moms for Liberty, and you don't organize on our side, then you got a problem. So, and we managed to do that in Anne Arundel County and actually won in a district that is a pretty red district with an independent who was running for school board was the right person against the wrong person. Mm-hmm. The Democratic Party got involved and that was very helpful. But in terms of turf also, the thing in my life that has always confused me the most and inspired me the most is the rural-urban divide. And it has frustrated the hell out of me that in rural America, it's true all over the world actually, that folks vote against their own economic interests all the time. And so we have, in the congressional races, wouldn't it be nice to flip District 1? And flipping District 1 requires being in rural Maryland with a message that that resonates and engages with people. And I think, look at the impact of Trump's tariffs on farmers. If now's not the time, never is. So I really, really relish the opportunity to get out into rural Maryland and compete where we've been losing.
And
if I could, I'll say heck yes. And I think it's also about inviting people into this big tent that we call the Democratic Party, and certainly the Maryland State Democratic Party. And I go back to, we have to listen to the people, and then our messages have to resonate with the people. And then we also have a voice, and at least in my estimation, how do we take our Maryland voice nationally where it's appropriate to do so and when we need to?
So what I'm hearing is a double down on what Chair Ulman started, of competing in nonpartisan races where especially dangerous Republicans are running, and then also filling ideally the entire slate in 2026 in every county and put people up in R plus 70 seats, even if it's a long shot.
Yeah. And I know this was, for Ken Ulman, this has been a priority, and I think you're right on.
Awesome. So the last question I know people are going to ask is, you're now, if you become elected on June 21st, you're the chair of the Maryland Democratic Party. You talk to the other chairs, you talk to the DNC. Are you at all interested, exciting, willing to maybe push back on some things that maybe Maryland doesn't think the DNC is I don't want to say doing correctly, but there's a lot of different opinions. Do you want to get in the mix and kind of mix it up on the national level, or is this just Maryland? Let's worry about national later. When
this opportunity came up, I started, Googling and paying more attention to DNC stuff and watching some YouTube videos. And I've always been, so Ken Martin is interesting to me and what he's doing. And I've always been interested in Minnesota, the Minnesota, Farm Labor Party, not just the Democratic Party, Farm Labor. And I actually was a community organizer in Iowa, adjacent to Minnesota. Spent time in Minnesota. Actually, was dating a woman in Minnesota. Ended up marrying her and having a child. And
a lot of Minnesota connections here.
Yeah. So Minnesota politics has fascinated me, and the fact that the Minnesota Democratic Party was, or still is, 365 days a year, every year, really did some things right, I think. And so I'm interested in learning from Ken Martin and what they're doing. But absolutely, we're at the table, and so we're engaged and trying to move the party in the right direction. So I have just a few more questions. We're going to end with a game, so everyone stick around for the game. We're going to put the county executive on the spot, as well as Karen and Dr. Dukes, with some would you rathers that they do not know are coming. But I do have a few more questions, and one specifically for you, county executive, and then one for everyone. I've heard rumors that you have an interesting story from your organizing days about a potential run-in with a super celebrity. Or I guess not run-in, but yeah. Well, so actually, on my bucket list is to meet Barack Obama, because when I do, I will say to him, "I'm the white boy from Acorn who went to jail blocking the trucks next to Altgeld Gardens going into the hazardous waste landfill," and he will laugh and fall off his chair, because he came in right after I was there. I was there working for Acorn, organizing a tenants union in this public housing project on the far side. And if you read his first book, you'll hear about Altgeld Gardens and all of the things that he did there. And it was where he cut his teeth. It's where I cut my teeth. And he will have heard stories about me, and he will laugh. There was a book about Barack Obama that was linking him to Acorn and saying that he was a socialist and a bad person. And I'm in the book, and it says that I went to jail, and then I disappeared somewhere. And I disappeared to Iowa. But I didn't really disappear. I was organizing in Iowa. So, that's on my bucket list. So if you're listening, Barack, let's talk.
So I think the other thing, if I could, what I hear is that this thing about not just democracy, but sticking up for the people is in your blood. And I think that it's a continuation of what we really learned about Ken, and, the things that he valued. And then as we all came together as a team, we learned that we all value the same things. We may go about it differently, but that's what this is all about, right? Bringing the best people together to get the best out of the work that we do, again, for the people of the state of Maryland, and I would dare say for people all across this country and our territory. So absolutely.
Amen.
So let's talk 2026. We need to take back the House. I think that is goal number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 for national Democrats. Obviously, Maryland has additional goals of like hold the governor's mansion, comptroller's seat, AG, supermajorities, etc. What do we all think the Maryland Democratic Party's role can be in taking back the House in 26? Karen, that might be a question for you to start. I don't know if we're thinking New Jersey, Virginia, Pennsylvania. Send us to California. I'll volunteer.
Well, that was Joe's way of me reminding everybody I'm a Jersey girl. But no, I mean, I started in Maryland politics on the governor's race in 2014, but a lot of my career is spent in federal politics. I worked on, Senate races. You saw for Amy Klobuchar in Minnesota. I also worked on, competitive House races. So I worked on Lucy McBath's 2020 reelection, and like that really excites me. Being a frontline race and getting and those congressional races and everything. And I feel like in 2026, if it would be a great legacy for us all to have to deliver a full Democratic congressional delegation. I feel like that's a real opportunity, and the way that the pendulum is swinging in the Republican Party has its back up against the ropes. It presents a really cool opportunity. But kind of touching on your question that you had earlier about Maryland versus national, I think our juxtaposition to Washington, D.C. and us being here, you can't have a conversation that's one without the other. I think that, our friends in Washington, D.C. and Virginia, even if we want to go up to New Jersey and just Pennsylvania, we are just right here in the epicenter of it all. And I think that sharing knowledge, sharing our resources, I mean, I can tell you how many executive directors call me asking, literally the executive director in Tennessee was like, you guys sent us Jamie Raskin so we could raise money for our gala. Can you send us what's more? Who else you got? Like, who else in Maryland send us to just help? And I think that the more that we can do that, the better it is. And like, I think that we jumped into this last year, almost a year to the date last year, and just kind of really hit the ground running on a lot of things. Something that I think that we were good about is getting those memos out of what we did and like recapping it. I think a lot, if we can package that and like really keep it and look back on it and perfect a lot of the systems and everything that we've been working on, I think that something that we can leave behind would be just the work product that we did. And as we socialize and connect with our colleagues around the country, if we can just share that insight as much as possible, I think it'll make a really, really, really big impact. And, it can't be lost on anyone that all eyes are on Maryland for a lot of different reasons, but we can't, take our foot off the gas in any capacity. And I like what you said about working grassroots and, as many people who know who Wes Moore is, who know who Angela Alsobrooks is, and know a lot of our elected officials. There are a lot of people that are still not connected, still not paying attention. And if there was any time to be turned off by politics, it is now. And the work that we're doing with, under Joe's leadership, and I'm looking at Deja on social media and just like connecting with people, I think is going to be the thing that really changes it all for us.
So if I could, I think that what I hear you saying, Karen, is that while physically we are local, that our partnerships nationally really matter. And that we have a continued opportunity to do that, and to ensure that we're giving of our resources, and sometimes that's intellect and strategy as we're working with others around the country. And I think we'll have the opportunity to continue that discussion as we think about the ASDC meeting that's coming up, and all of the things in which I believe that we'll find ourselves engaged.
So we're going to get so far ahead in all of our races here in Maryland, and then we're going to go help Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, anywhere that needs us. So
did you say California?
I'm going to go. I will happily go to California if people want to put me on a plane out there. That is fine. So if you're listening, folks, right now, let's do what we need to do now so we can be ahead by so much that in September, October of next year, we can go to Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey without any guilt and help lock in a House majority for Democrats.
I will say that's the one thing, like, when everything was said and done, we did everything that we possibly could do, should have done to deliver our victories. The one thing that we did not do is that we did not go hard on exporting and going to other states, because we had a big race right here, and then we did what we needed to do. If there was anything that I could do differently, or anything that I think that we could have done a little bit more, was to maybe take at least one bus to Pennsylvania or something, so that we could have say that we did it and that we did it. I mean, a lot of people on our orbit did it and then went, but we didn't sponsor it. So if we could do that in 26, we'd be game to do it. But we need the support, like you said.
So do the work now so we can sponsor buses in September and October. I want to close out with the game here because I know we have time. So the game is Would You Rather? I'm going to read 5, and everyone's going to answer. But County Executive, you're going to go first. We're going to put you on the spot. Some of these I think are pretty easy. Others of them, sorry, not my fault. I didn't write them.
We'll see.
Actually, I did. So we're going to start with the easiest one I've written, just so we can ease into it and everyone can feel comfortable. County Executive first, and then Karen, and then Dr. Dukes. Would you rather spend an entire day door knocking for your favorite Democratic politician or phone banking for that politician?
Door knocking.
Why door knocking?
Because when you door knock, it's beautiful weather, hopefully, maybe it's raining, and you are, you're meeting people face to face. And when you're sitting on the phone, it's good because you can reach a lot of people quickly, but you never get that real moment of aha, I found somebody who actually I connected to and could change their mind.
I'm not shocked you said that. That's the community organizing.
Yeah. It's also just the rhythm of it. I like it.
Karen, are you doors or phones?
I am doors, actually. I like it. I as a fundraiser, I like the opportunity to get from behind the desk and actually get into and with the people. And I like doing it with other people. Like, I sponsored a canvas last cycle, and I took my little daughter to, pro tip, take a 5 or 6 year old to knock on the door. People will open the door a lot more often. So no, I enjoyed that.
Dr. Dukes, phones or doors?
I think I'm both.
Okay, so you want to outdo both Karen and Rez?
Yes.
All right.
That was the whole intent of the answer.
Super.
Next question, County Executive first. Would you rather have a tattoo of Marjorie Taylor Greene's face or have to wear a MAGA hat for a week in public?
Oh my God. Can I change some stuff on the MAGA hat? That's what I would do. I'll put the MAGA hat and then I'd change it.
All right, so the next chair of the Democratic Party will have a MAGA hat. Good to know.
Yeah.
You don't want the Marjorie Taylor Greene face on your arm?
But he'll have a down arrow on the hat.
Down arrow.
So, yeah.
No, I mean, we have toilet paper in our house that we got of, Donald Trump toilet paper. And, you can get it in all kinds of people. And I'm sure you can buy toilet paper that is Marjorie Taylor Greene on every. Yeah.
Karen, tattoo or hat?
You didn't say where the tattoo
I did.
had
Your
to
choice.
be, so I will probably do tattoo so I could cover it up.
Put it on your foot.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Dr. Dukes, tattoo or hat?
Neither.
Neither? Okay. You can say whatever you want as Dr. Dukes. Next one, County Executive Pittman. Would you rather have to have a Trump bumper sticker on your car or go door knock for Lauren Boebert?
Oh, I would door knock for Lauren Boebert because I could say anything I wanted once I got to the door, right?
Did anyone ever see that video of paid door knockers in Texas? I think they were door knocking for Beto, and they would go, or they were door knocking in Texas. They'd go around and be like, will you support Greg Abbott? People would be like, hell no. I'd be like, yeah, me either. Ha ha. Paid. Same thing. I assume Karen, Dr. Duke, same.
door knock. Yeah, I was there.
All right. This one, I'm actually curious what you'll say. County Executive, would you rather guarantee taking back the House in 2026 or 100% guarantee we take back the White House in 28?
That's a tough one. I'd say give me the House, and I'm not going to. If we, I know we can get the White House back.
I'm not saying we lose it.
Yeah,
I guarantee.
Yeah. Don't tell me we're going to lose it, but just give me the House, and then we can stop the bleeding, save people's lives, and save our country. And then you bet we're going to take.
Karen, Dr. Duke, same.
I agree.
I agree.
I appreciate County Executive, you being here, talking about your candidacy. Karen, Dr. Dukes, thank you for joining and all the work you do every day. And honestly, a special thank you to Chair Ulman, who is still the chair, but has done a ton of work over the last year and a half to get us to where we are, and is stepping down with big shoes to fill. So thank you, everyone for tuning in. County Executive Pittman, I see you got one more thing.
No, I was just going to say something about Ken. I mean,
you could say something nice.
Yeah. Ken stepped up with no real benefit to Ken, I don't think, other than he felt like this was something to do. And I talked to him about it. I've also talked to his wife about it, and his decision to step up and do it when the governor called. And I just respect that so much for somebody who's, he's been through his political life. He's done amazing things at Howard County, and, and he's very busy doing what he does. And he didn't need this. And man, did he work hard. So thank you, Ken Ulman.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of Burn the Talking Points. It was a great conversation with the county executive. Just a couple of reminders on the housekeeping notes we did at the top of the show. First, subscribe and share no matter where you listen to podcasts or watch them. It really helps grow our audience. We'd appreciate it. 2, get your tickets for the gala before they sell out. 3, we have Pride merch on our store, so store.mddems.org. Get your Pride merch just in time for Pride Month, and then join us at a Pride event. We're going to be in Baltimore June 14th, as well as a fundraiser, and then I know our central committees are going to be active in Pride across the state. So thanks again for joining us. Appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.